Yo, what's going on, boys and girls? I did have a bit of fun yesterday. You guys saw some of the pictures on my Facebook wall when we went to see Robert Glasper last night, and Verlan Common and a couple of people came down and just ripped the roof off London last night. I needed that. I really needed that to just give myself that feel good factor for the weekend. But I have to say, it's not been a good weekend. And firstly, let me start off by giving my condolence to the family of Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins was a 24-year-old NFL quarterback. He was a Ohio State Big Ten massive player, Heisman candidate, set records at Ohio State by throwing 50 touchdowns, which was a national record. And and he died yesterday. A friend of mine also was with him in a club the night before in Florida, and he got hit by a truck on the motorway coming out of his car, and just really, really real bad news, just shocking news, shocked me to my core. So realistically, young sportsmen, family member, friends, just guys, just you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, man. Just make up for everything that is wrong in your life, or that you feel is wrong, or that you can make a change with somebody that is being close to you, that maybe you don't even talk too much anymore. Just do your due diligence to make sure that whatever happens on this earth, that you've just made your peace with everybody, because you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And just hug your family. Just life is too short, man. So I want to go on now and talk about Arsenal, the disaster class yesterday. The question was whether they could recover from Crystal Palace. My question was that this is a young team, youngest team in the league. We don't know what the effects is going to be of that loss, but we've got a situation now where it's not just the effects of the Palace loss. Everything is imploding within each other, and it's just the walls are caving in on this team. The Kieran Tierney injury was felt against Palace, and Palace exposed it. And on top of that, we've lost Thomas Partey maybe for the season, and the Brighton game was indicative of that situation as well. And everything is just starting to cave in, and Arteta doesn't have many options. And I know that there's talk about him choosing the wrong options in the situation. So we've just got so much things coming in. Kieran Tierney injury, we've got Tomiyasu not back, we've got Thomas Partey, his injury. These are the things, intangibles, that we need to talk about. We've got the fact that Smith Rowe and Saka had COVID, and whatever COVID has done to them, it's sapped a lot of their energy, and they're not providing the levels that we've seen from this previously. Martin Odegaard has just fallen off as well, but most of that is because of Thomas Partey. In my videos, I have talked about the transitional link that comes from the back four to Thomas Partey in the midfield, who has the ability to hold people off the ball and then look for that pass in transitional play to move the attack on quickly. That has gone, guys. It's not there. It wasn't there yesterday, and we just looked like we didn't know what to do in the midfield. It was coming through to Xhaka and Sambi, and they didn't know what to do with it. The ball was going sideways. It was going backways a lot. And it just goes to show you how important Thomas Partey is when he does have that ability to play the ball in transition. Nobody else in the team has that. No one else in the team can't do that. And that's the reason why we saw a massive drop-off against Brighton, where we just looked clueless. And that just goes to show, look, Thomas Partey was the best player in February. You take that out of the team, and you've got a huge gap to fill. And we don't have any options on the field to fill that gap. Without that player on the team, yeah? Remember what happened when he went to Africa's Nation in January? Remember what happened then? We had our worst month of the season. So you take that same player out, and look what happens. So I don't even, some of you lot can just make up this situation to sort of push that Arteta out narrative. Fine, you do you. But I can't see if there's anything that this guy can do. I mean, I know Tony and Neomis talked about it last week when we were looking at all these things going on, and they just said, look, man, I don't actually know what he can do with this squad. Because when you look at the players you've got missing and the players who are just not performing, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And because Vinay and Edu didn't bring in much help in January, you have no plan B or C. Normally when I see us in that kind of funk and I see us losing, Arteta's going mad on the sidelines. Yesterday he was just standing up there in the second half and just looked lost. Most of your bench players are academy players who have no experience in the Premier League at all, due to the fact that you only have 18 players and 4 of them are out injured now. You don't have much options. So I say much options, and then we talk about the options that he does have. What he could have done is put Saka at left back, and the team would have had that stability in attack. As I said, Saka had 14 assists and 2 goals from that position under Emery and when Arteta took over the team. And you can also put El Nene in there. Now, El Nene was voted All-11 African Nations Cup in January. He hadn't started for us since Chelsea, since we had 9 players out at the beginning of the season. When we did the team sheet on Thursday in the preview, the African Guna and Vincey both said that he should have started. It wasn't something I was against, but probably now I can see what they were talking about. And you've got to find something that works there. So let's just run through the 5 changes that they need to do in order to get something working. Find a midfield pairing that works. Find a midfield pairing that can move the ball quickly in transition, because whatever happened with Sambi and Xhaka ain't it. It ain't it. And Partey has been so good that he's been able to make it work in the single pivot. Yeah? Now, 2 players in there can't even make up a Thomas Partey. But you have to try to find something that works. And isn't it a shame that we don't even have a Maitland-Niles to fall back on in that situation? Yeah, isn't it a shame? Your one sort of good option, played 1 game, got man of the match against Watford, and he's not even around to rescue you. And again, that's a front office decision with Vinay and Edu, and they've got to take that responsibility. Number 2, settle on a left back. In terms of being dynamic, in terms of getting up the field and playing the overlap and the triangles and being effective in the final third, Xhaka is not that player. But Saka is. And that's something which we all thought when we named the team that he could do. And believe me, they need any little bit of spark that they can get in this run up to the end of the season. So for me, that would be your option. Find a left back that works. The other way is to just put Tavares back in and look, it's not something I would do. I know a lot of people are talking about gain confidence with the player and all this. You're not in a position to do that right now. Your only position now is to win and to get into Europe. And if you had games to spare and if you had spare games, and sure, you'd put Tavares in, but you wouldn't do that knowing the situation at hand is grave. You just wouldn't do that. The last thing you need is a player who's off form, who's just constantly giving the ball away, not keeping the ball, and just out of position. And that's the last thing you need. So he has to find an option that's going to work at left back. Number 3, hope that Thomas Partey can get back at some point this season. Hope that he can get back after the Southampton game. Hope and pray that what he has isn't long term. I know the prognosis wasn't good, but we have to see how he reacts to that after next weekend. Number 4, get something out of your playmakers. In the last 2 games, apart from that mad goal by Martin Odegaard, what have you had in the last 2 games from Saka, from Martinelli, from Smith Rowe, and from Odegaard? Yeah? Those are your playmakers. Those are the guys who are getting you the goals, getting you the assists, because your striker ain't doing it, and he's not dependable in that regard. So number 4 has to be, you've got to find a way to get something, because as I said, the one thing that is not being talked about by this team is the fact that Smith Rowe and Saka had COVID, and Smith Rowe suffered the effects worse than Saka did. And you can see that in his display. Smith Rowe yesterday was awful. He was absolutely awful. His first touch, his positioning, it's just, he was off the pace. He was so far off the pace. And that has definitely got to be down to his energy levels. He just looked sapped. He just looked a shadow of the player that he was in the first half of the season. And you can't even blame a situation like that because, first of all, it's COVID. Secondly, whatever options do you have on the bench? I mean, yes, I know you've got Nketiah and you've got Pepe, but the manager just seems to have a mental block when it comes to those two players. And now it's costing the team. So we've got to do something and make a change there. And that's why I'm saying, get something out of your playmakers. Well, Pepe is a playmaker. No matter what Saka and Smith Rowe has done this season, they still haven't put up figures like Pepe. He's averaging 13 goals a season. Yeah? In his first 2 seasons. And these guys, credit to both of Saka and Smith Rowe, they got 10 goals. But you still haven't surpassed what Pepe's done. You haven't. So you got a guy who's giving you all of that, and he's on the bench. So, look, man, that's these decisions are going to be the things that are hurting you. There's one thing in having a team that's hurting with injuries, one thing that's having a short squad, and there's one thing that have players not performing. It's one thing having all of that, but it's another thing to have players on the bench that can change things for you, and you're not utilizing that. Yeah. So, number 5, the last one, change Lacazette. For weeks now, we've been talking about this as an option, and you're just not doing it. You're leaving the guy in there, and I put on the forum, on 101 forum, I put on there goals from open play this season. Yeah? 2. For the whole season. Goals from open play. You've got guys like Pukki, Dennis, Maupay. These are not top of the draw Premier League strikers. These are mid-table and the lower league dregs of the Premier League. These guys have got double, triple, quadruple the goals that Lacazette. Lacazette is the dog's body of the Premier League when it comes to striker. He's just not doing anything. Where is the shots? We talk about Eddie Nketiah coming in, and we talk about he hit the bar last week, hit the crossbar. This week again, he set up 3 chances and pulled off a fantastic save from the goalkeeper in injury time, which could have equaled the game. You're getting something from him. And he's barely playing. He's never started a game this season, and he's getting very limited time. And you're getting something from a player in that process, but nothing from your guy, from your main guy and your captain. And fine, you can be the captain, but you can be the captain on the sideline and in the locker room. And you can be that inspirational voice that Mertesacker was, that Arteta was when they were captains. And, they didn't have the physicality and the output to be on the pitch. They just did everything from the sideline and led from the front there. You can do that with Arteta. You can't tell me that there's any justification of you playing him in the next game. You just can't. And please don't talk to me about his hold-up play, because every time I see the ball come into his feet, he loses it. Don't talk to me about hold-up play, because I already had that discussion when I talked about Aubameyang was a 3 and Lacazette is a 5. He's an average player at hold-up play. Average at best. And all you've seen from the last month is the ball coming into him and him losing possession. This is the guy that fans are marveling about with his hold-up play. Who can't hold the ball up? Now, when I see the ball come into Martinelli, I see him holding the ball up. When I see the ball come into Pepe, I see him holding the ball up. But when I see it coming into Lacazette, I see him getting dispossessed. So the option has got to change. And if these things doesn't happen, what it does is it just impacts everything else around the team that's not working. So you don't have just 1 or 2 problems to solve. You just have a plethora of issues just compacting this team, which is causing results for over the last 2 games. So listen, that's it from me, guys. Those are the 5 things that I'm saying need to change in order for us to make a run at Europe. And if those things don't change, then we ain't going to even finish top 6. All right, guys, that's it from me. I'll speak to you later, man. Peace out. Nice one. Right back at you guys.